Hey guys, welcome to the very first episode of Honest Opinion, a show where I share my honest opinions about any TV show, movies, or anime. Today we're going to take a look at Infinity War. First, I'm going to give a quick summary of what happened in the movie, and then I will go into details about what I liked and disliked about the movie. A warning to everyone, this video will contain major spoilers. If you do not want any spoilers for the movie, please do not watch it until you have seen the movie. Okay, so as the movie starts, we see Thor and Loki in the ship along with Thanos. Thanos has pretty much beat the heck out of Thor and he's just laying there on the ground. Loki is trying to negotiate. It looks like it didn't really work out very well for him. At the end, he did give the Tesseract to Thanos, and Thanos ultimately killed him at the end. But Loki did try to kind of betray him and deceive him, but that did not work out. I honestly did not expect Loki to die like that, but that is what happened. After that, Heimdall basically sent Hulk to Earth, and that's how all the other Avengers find out about Thanos coming to Earth. And at this point, Thanos proceeds to completely destroy Thor's ship. Before we continue, let's talk about the Guardians for a second. So the Guardians basically get split into two groups. One group is Peter, Quill, Drax, and Gamora, and the other group is Rocket, Raccoon, and Groot. Rocket and Groot go along with Thor on his team, and the rest of them go on Iron Man's team later down the line. Now, this split happens because of Thor. So Thor basically crashes on their ship and goes like, hey, Thanos is about to destroy everything and get all the stones. So Thor at this point is also sad and needs a new weapon so he can beat Thanos. So he goes off to the forge to craft a new weapon. And that's when the team basically gets split. And this event basically sets off the motions for Infinity War. And from here on out, we have three teams. The first team I call is Team Iron Man, which consists of Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Peter Quill, Drax, and Gamora. And we also have Team Thor, which consists of Groot, Rocket Raccoon, and of course Thor himself. And then the last team is the Earth team. And that's basically just about everyone else, because no one else really does anything too interesting. Captain America is in Team Earth, so is Black Panther, Widow, Scarlet Witch, to name a few. We also have the White Wolf. So Thor goes off to craft his new weapon with Groot and Raccoon, and the other half of the team tries to go to the Collector to get the Infinity Stone from him for safekeeping. But we find out that Thanos is already there, he's destroyed everything, and it looks like he is in the process of trying to get the stone from the Collector. And at this point, the Guardians are there, but they're all hiding. They try to kind of do a sneak attack. It doesn't really work out. Gamora kind of goes in and tries to kill him, and it looks like she does for a moment, but Thanos has the Reality Stone, and it was basically a fake all along. And at this point, Gamora gets basically kidnapped by Thanos. Let's talk about Team Iron Man for a second. So after Hulk crashes down to Earth, he falls on Doctor Strange's house, and that's how they find out about Thanos, and Doctor Strange calls Iron Man, and they get together basically. And at this point, two of the Black Order members come down, the people that work for Thanos, and they basically proceed to try and take the Time Stone from Doctor Strange, and there's a battle that happens. Spider-Man also joins the battle because he also lives in New York. The battle doesn't really end well. Doctor Strange does get kidnapped and he's taken into space. So after Doctor Strange gets taken, Spider-Man and Iron Man decide to board the ship. And once they're on the ship, there is a fight that happens with one of the Black Order members. They eventually take the ship over. And after that, Iron Man decides that it's better to take the fight to Thanos so they don't go back to Earth. They go and travel to the planet of Titan, where they meet up with the Guardians eventually. So Team Iron Man gets crushed. There's a pretty cool fight scene that I'll be talking about in a little bit, and ultimately Thanos does get the Time Stone. While all that was happening, Team Thor managed to craft a new weapon for Thor using the imprints that was left for another weapon called Stormbringer. and the handle was made out of Groot's branches. Eventually, Team Thor goes back to Earth for the final showdown against Thanos. Now let's talk about Team Earth a little bit. Not a lot happened for Team Earth. The biggest thing happening was two of the Black Order members came down and tried to take the Mind Stone from Vision, but they failed because Captain America, Widowmaker, and Falcon saved Vision and the Scarlet Witch. Other than that, nothing too major happened, and then they make their way to Wakanda to see if they can maybe get the Mind Stone out of Vision's head without killing him. They fail, and Thanos does end up with all of the Infinity Stones. The final showdown did happen on Earth, and it was pretty epic, so Team Earth has that going for them. Okay, so let's talk about Thanos for a little bit. This movie, to me, really felt like a movie about Thanos. With all the heroes and all the characters, none of them really felt like the main character other than Thanos himself. Because if you think about it, the entire movie, his purpose is to get the 6 stones, and he does it. From the very beginning of the movie to very end of the movie, the focus is almost always kept on Thanos, and it's such a unique take on a villain. And Thanos is not just a villain. Because Marvel movies, let's be honest, don't usually have the greatest villains, but this one, you could really understand why Thanos is doing what he's doing. They show a lot of backstory with Thanos, the fact that Thanos isn't just another monster. He does care about something in this world, and that's Gamora. And Gamora had to die in this movie to get him his Soul Stone. And you really did feel the impact of that event on Thanos, which I thought was really good. You don't usually see things like this in the Marvel Universe. I guess the best way to put it is they really did a pretty good job of humanizing Thanos. He's not just a bad guy. He has his own feelings, emotions, motivations, and the movie did a good job of showing those. And the fact that he actually cares for his daughter. Well, not all of them, mostly Gamora, but that's still better than not caring for anything at all and, just being a typical bad guy that wants to destroy everything. His goal is to destroy half of the universe, well, not the universe, half of the population in the universe, so that hunger and starvation and things like that never happen. And that's a motivation I can understand. It's not maybe the right way of doing things, but who's to say it's the wrong way? Okay, now let's talk about the fight scenes in the movie. Now, there are 2 of them that I personally like a lot, so we're going to be focusing on them mostly. The fight scene where Thanos fights Iron Man and tries to take the Time Stone. It's the second last fight of the movie, I believe. That fight is so good. It's probably my favorite fight of the movie, and that's because of the suit Iron Man had, the bleeding edge armor, and it's such a unique way of fighting for Iron Man because he never really fought like that before. He's been fighting with his blasters, his missiles, rockets, lasers, and that's really the typical way Iron Man normally fights, but not in this movie. This movie really did a good job on demonstrating what the bleeding edge armor is capable of. It's able to transform any part of it into anything he needs. He at one point transformed it into like 4 different lasers. He made them into saws, axes. His foot turned into a lock to lock down Thanos' foot. And it's been constantly repairing. Wherever Thanos damaged it, it kept repairing like new. It was an amazing fight scene, but Thanos did end up eventually overpowering him and beating Tony down to the ground. But the fight itself was amazing to watch. Not only that, Doctor Strange was using his portals to throw Spider-Man around, and there was magic going around all over the place. Doctor Strange was using his bands of Siderax or whatever they're really called, I don't know. But the fight overall was 10 out of 10. Now let's talk about the very last fight in the movie. And this takes place in Wakanda. So the invaders are coming down. The shields are kind of protecting everybody from the invaders. I don't even know what to call them, like the alien things that have 4 arms and a face that crawl on the ground. They were really creepy. Armies of those things were just coming down to destroy Wakanda, but the shield was good. It was holding them back. The aliens actually started going around the back way to see if maybe they can slip through that way, but eventually T'Challa basically lowered the shield, so all of them started entering through the front. That way they didn't go around the back and maybe find a weakness there. And that's when the fight really started. So all the Avengers going off, killing them one at a time. The Hulkbuster armor doing some damage. The War Machine doing some damage. Falcon doing some damage with their missiles. The fight was great overall, but the aliens started to overrun them at a point. They just couldn't hold them all off. All of the Wakandan warriors were doing their part. It was a great fight, and at this point, Thor came down with his new hammer and started to turn the tide. And it did look like for a good while that the Avengers were probably going to win. There was also a really great moment between Bucky and Rocket Raccoon, and those are the two last people I ever expected to actually have any interaction in this movie. But that moment was great. They were basically back to back. Bucky picked up Rocket in one of his arms, and they were both like spinning and shooting all the guys around them. I really liked that scene. And then Thanos came down finally. And once Thanos was here, at this point he has all of the stones except for the Mind Stone, which is in Vision's head. T'Challa's sister is still trying to remove the stone from his head without killing him, but the process is very slow, so they haven't really done it yet. Thanos comes down and basically warps wherever Vision is, and at this point, Wanda has to destroy the Mind Stone before Thanos can have it. She doesn't want to do it, but ultimately she does. The stone is destroyed, but guess what? Thanos has these time stones, so time is not an issue. He has all the time in the world, so he just reversed time, took the stone, and at that moment, Thor took his hammer, and the new hammer is like an axe hammer. One side of it is like an axe. He throws it down at Thanos, and it left a really big wound. And at this moment, I'm thinking, wow, is this it? Is Thanos gonna die in the hands of Thor? And is it really gonna be this easy? Turns out it wasn't that easy. Thanos snaps his finger and does exactly what he set out to do this entire movie, which is decimate half of the population of this universe, or all universes, I guess. And that's what happened. And at the end, Thanos is the real winner, and you see him at the end sitting on his ship porch or whatever, watching the sun set. Okay, so now let's look at some of the issues I've had with the movie. If I'm being completely honest, there weren't a lot of issues in this movie, but there was a couple. First being that there was a lot of cuts in the movie. You were switching back and forth between Earth, space a lot to see what all the teams were up to. And that's to be expected, and that's okay. It's kind of nitpicking at this point. It's not like a really big issue. But another thing that did kind of bother me is the fact that there was some fight scenes that felt like they didn't really need to be there. One being the fight they had on Earth with Captain America, Widowmaker, versus I believe two of the Black Order members. They were there to take Vision's Mind Stone, and I don't know, that fight felt like it was there just to be there. It didn't really serve any purpose, in my opinion. And there was no Hulk or Ant-Man in the movie, which is surprising. You see Hulk in the very beginning of the movie. He tries to take on Thanos and loses like almost immediately. Yeah, so after that, Hulk basically doesn't want to show up. So is the Hulk embarrassed? I don't know what's going on there. To me, it felt like Marvel was trying to save some money. But then again, having two fully grown CGI characters could be a lot harder. Having Hulk in the Hulk Buster armor, of course in his human form, I guess was a little bit less expensive, simply because, well, I mean, for the Hulk Buster armor, you can really have props in some scenes and animate them in the ones where it's moving. Other than that, there was some characters that could have done more, but they really didn't do much. They were kind of felt like filler characters, if it made sense. One of them being War Machine. War Machine, I think, only had about 2 scenes in the movie, which to me seemed very strange. Same with kind of like Falcon, and same with the one of the tribes from the Black Panther tribe. I can't really remember his name, but I'll probably have a picture up. Now let's talk about the ending of the movie. The ending of this movie was simply mind-blowing. This is a movie where the bad guy wins. This is a movie where all your heroes that you have ever loved, most of them end up dead. It's a movie where you don't know what to do next. And after I left the theater, I didn't know how to feel because I was so conflicted. So overall, I think the movie is a solid 8.5 out of 10. The reason I'm not giving it a higher rating is because there was some issues. No movies in this world is perfect, though this movie was really good and it deserves a very high rating. This is a movie that comes around once in a lifetime, and this is a movie that took them 10 years to set up. So I recommend anyone that likes movies to go watch this movie in theaters if you can. Watch it in IMAX if you like IMAX, watch it in just normal if you like normal. Either way, this is a movie that deserves to be watched. It's one of those movies that people may be talking about even, 5 to 6 years in the future or even more. I truly feel like this is a movie worth watching. I was a roller coaster of emotions at the end of this movie, and I hope you guys watch it and feel the same way. Or let me know how you feel in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, and consider subscribing to support the channel. If you didn't enjoy the video, you know what to do, and I will see you guys in the next video.